So, how's it been so far?
Brief. we flew in about 9 hours ago or something crazy.
Yeah,
and we're flying out to start work in about 4. So it's been brief. We'd love to stay.
Yeah, we haven't got to spend enough time with you guys, but it's been amazing. It's just fantastic to look around and watch everybody.
Have you seen anybody dressed as Mary yet? Or maybe Clarissa?
We haven't even hit the floor yet. Like, we haven't really gotten to go anywhere. We've kind of been ushered from room to room to, you know, promote the second season. I'm looking forward to getting out on the floor later, though.
We'll have to keep an eye out for you on the floor later, then. So I asked Rain fans before heading into the panel to send me their questions over Twitter. And we'll be taking questions later from you all as well. And I have to say, you guys have some great fans.
Yeah.
Yes, we do. We have the best.
But it did take me a little while to decipher all the questions. A word that came up a lot was frary. Adelaide, do you want to describe what a frary is?
Frary is the shipping name given to Francis and Mary's relationship.
Very fitting that the two of you are here today.
Yeah, the ship is sailing. The ship has sailed. I think, yeah, we're married now. First marriage, it's going well so far. We'll see how it works out.
We'll try not to read too much into the body language. Laurie, how should the Fraries feel about how the season ended?
I think they should be a little nervous and a little bit excited. I think you know, you'll see season 2 is really very much an exploration of what it's like to be married, what it's like to be married as 2 young royals, what it's like to be married as 2 young royals, you know, with complications that are political and personal and, you know, a little bit horrific on occasion.
Marriage. Megan, I also heard quite a lot about Penryn's. Was all the shipping stuff a surprise to you, or are you familiar with that from your days of Anne and Green Gables?
Just a little bit of a change there for me, isn't it? Yes, that's from Henry Gilbert. It's a little different, but you never know Gilbert and Anne after a while. Maybe they might have ended up like Catherine and Henry.
So Henry sadly out of the picture. Though, you know, the castle has had ghosts before. Is there a chance that he may pop up again?
You know, there's a chance that anything can happen, I'm right. But, you know, we're very sad to lose our king. And, but it's a new era. It's the era of, you know, Francis is king and Mary's queen and Catherine de Medici is queen mother, a title that she's gonna hate.
I think if there's not literal ghosts, there is a haunting that I'm having to deal with, a haunting of what I did to my dad.
No, that's right. I mean, you know, the audience knows what you did, but so far nobody else in the show does.
Oh.
So how is that going to play out?
I'll probably just have to keep that a secret. And that'll be one of the major struggles for my character, I suppose, over this season, is that I really wanted to get this off my chest, but I can't tell anyone. And that's going to eat me inside, I imagine.
So the Catherine and Henry scenes were some of my favorite. Do you know if you'll have a new sparring partner in the new season?
Well, we have some exciting new guests coming to the castle, and I think that I definitely loved my relationship with Henry for that, because it was sort of this horribly delicious marriage on fire kind of, that just gave you a lot to play with. So, Laurie, why don't you talk to us about these new guests that have arrived at the castle?
Well, you know, you and I have talked about Catherine's relationship with men and relationship with pretty much everybody, and it's always kind of rooted in fear and power and, you know, often in lust and desire as well. And we have new characters coming to court. Season 2 is very much about what goes on beyond the castle walls, and a lot of nobles have been waiting out there for kind of their day in court, and for their moment to get involved with people like Catherine and Mary and Francis as well.
I think you get to see some of the power plays and the politics behind. There's the face of power, the king, the queens, and then there's actually the people with the money. The people that own the land, they have the food, they have the armies, and in fact we are beholden to them. And that becomes a lesson and a bit of a interesting dynamic for Mary and I, because I understand those politics. And there's a bit of ruthlessness behind that, and that is a harder thing, I think, for Mary to understand, why we have to do as they say at times when we should be the ones with power. So I always love Reign because it's the face of power presented as one thing, and it's all the undercurrents and what else is really, and the behind the scenes and the backstabbing and the negotiating of power in a different way.
And there's been a lot going on that I think Frances is not going to be completely shocked by, but Henry was a lot of things, but maybe not the best father.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
that time that he tried to kill actually both of his sons. That time.
Did he kill both?
No, he tried to.
Oh, well,
Not the best father.
Just another day in the castle.
Yeah.
He
threatened
Tuesday
that.
afternoon.
He was about to kill Frances, but yeah.
I thought that when I became king that it would become, that I would have the same sort of power that it looked like my father had, where he just sort of went around cutting people's heads off, and I thought, I can do that now, I can just cut everyone's head off. But it turns out that there are people that are very powerful, who are behind the scenes, who rear their ugly heads and try and control me, tell me that I can't do what I want.
Not as easy as it looks. Not as easy as it looks.
So I know that you started filming season 2 already. How was it getting back to set? Did you guys have any kind of reunion rituals or anything like that?
It felt like we never left.
Yeah, we just sort of got right back
We
into it.
had 2 months off, and it did. We've got exactly the same cast and crew coming back, apart from a few new faces, so it's really nice.
Yeah, which is unusual. It's unusual to have like all the same crew, and it's just coming back to the same people.
Yeah, it does
We're
feel like.
all working very hard. We have a fantastic crew, I have to say. It's really a pleasure and a great cast. We have a lot of fun. I may seem like I'm trying to kill her, but I actually have a lot of fun.
We actually like each other in real life.
Laurie, so what can you tell us about season 2 so far? We're dying to hear anything.
Well, the darkness was killed, and the plague is coming, and it's going to land at the castle with a vengeance, and it'll change the dynamics of court. It'll change the dynamics of this particular region of France. Not everyone will survive it. Among our people, as well as a percentage of the regional population will die. As I mentioned, we have new power players coming to court, new romantic intrigue. We'll be meeting other members of the Valois Medici family. Will be joining us this year. So,
Really? Tell us more.
So you said that not everybody's going to make it out alive. Have you decided yet who's going to be felled by the plague? Is there time for
Everyone. Everyone dies. That's the plot twist for season 2. We all die at plague.
In episode 2.
Episode 3, we're dead.
we've actually finished filming the first episode, so I think we all know who's died of the plague, but you'll have to tune in to the first episode to see.
Just gonna have to watch it, guys. Sorry.
I think we'd be watching anyway. So with the plague, kind of the predominant theme of this season, will that change the show we're used to seeing? It's going to be hard to imagine having big parties set for Lumineers when people are dying.
Well, the plague is going to pass.
Okay.
And really what the season is about is what kind of rises from the ashes of the plague, because it'll be followed by a famine. Just to make things
So more
superior.
fun. More fun for the castle.
It really is. It's just about inheriting a nation that is in fact burning, and because Mary and Frances are doing their best as young rulers to rule a nation that should be in their control, but is actually out of their control.
So you mentioned that the plague will pass quickly. I know that the show has played with time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we spend quite a lot of time on an event, and sometimes it feels like time passes very quickly.
Yeah.
How will this season deal with that?
We're finding it as we go. I think season 2, the time clock of the world that our people live in is going to slow down a little bit. I was eager to get Mary and Frances on the throne. I felt like, I always want the show to move forward. I always want them to meet new challenges, and it felt like there's no greater challenge than being the king and the queen of the nation. And so, it feels a little bit forgive the phrase organic, but I think it's, the show's kind of speaking to us now, this incredible team of writers, and we're finding, that there's so many stories to tell kind of in the in-between chapters of the first year of marriage and the first year of a rule.
So, Adelaide, last season Mary was kind of really torn between being the Queen of Scotland, but then also a good wife to Francis. How much will her focus be split between, at this point, 3 different countries, right? England, Scotland, and France.
I mean, she's in a really tricky position where she is the queen of 2 different countries and does want to do her best by both of them, and to be a good wife, which I think is going to be kind of tricky, considering her husband slept with one of her best friends and got her pregnant, which is always awkward. I don't know about you guys, but I would be uncomfortable with that. Sort of in the wake of the plague and him pairing off to be with her best friend instead of staying with her to help deal with a nation racked with plague.
I'm an impulsive guy.
I mean, yeah, really. But I'm really interested to see her trying to wrest power away from Queen Catherine now that she's also the Queen of France. I think that's going to be really interesting, and I know that we're going to have some Protestant Catholic political tension coming up in future episodes, so there's a lot to deal with in this particular season. Not only being Queen of Scotland, being Queen of France, being a good wife, resisting the urge to kill her best friend and her child.
But being a good friend too, being protective of your lady.
Trying to rise above it.
Yeah.
Trying to rise above all of it and do the right thing and still manage to keep the land from devouring itself in the wake of the plague.
So the Catherine-Mary dynamic was absolutely one of my favorites. I think that kind of the tension, and then sometimes the way that you would all of a sudden be on the same side, but maybe only for like 10 minutes, was really fun. What will the dynamic be like this season, given that now everybody should have Francis and Francis's best interests at heart?
Well, I'm not sure exactly where we're going to go, but I think so far, even relating back to what we just talked about, Mary now actually has something more in common with Catherine than she did before, because of course I know what it's like to have a husband who has a bastard child. So Mary is now being introduced into another dynamic of the reality of the difference between men and women in power in this time, and the rules are not the same for the genders. So I think that's something in a way that actually will, for me, I feel gives me somewhat of an empathy for her. But again, because it's not, there isn't enough always power to go around, there's always that struggle to maintain.
Especially not with women.
Yeah,
Especially not for women in that.
and I'm very still protective of my sons and my children.
But all your sons, not just Francis, I think for
Yeah.
the entire Valois line, that's Catherine's.
Many children.
Yeah.
Because that's I know how I'm going to live through my sons and their heirs, and that's the dynamic that Mary is now facing. So it would make a really interesting dinner table conversation. Can you just imagine?
So,
No, haven't had an heir yet? No? Where's the heir?
are you pregnant yet? No?
Okay.
What are you doing here?
Well, since you brought it up, people are very interested in Mary's fertility. That seems to be a big question out there. Will we find out?
People in her century were very interested in her fertility as well, and
Everyone's interested in my ovaries. I don't know what to tell you.
there's much gossip and speculation, and I think it's an important thing in a marriage. It's an important thing to marry because it makes her not just a benefit to French court, but really it's what makes her at the moment a better option for England than Elizabeth, who is married and childless. So
There's pressure to produce heirs for not only France but also Scotland, and then potential heirs for England should Elizabeth fail to be a good queen, or if she decides to, try and take over. She did, and then ended up beheaded.
plus there's a baby in the castle, and
Which
her
is very
husband is positive. So I think that adds a little pressure as well.
Yeah.
So, is there a chance for a Ferrari baby in our future?
There's a chance for anything.
Never say never.
I mean, they're certainly going to try and make it happen.
Oh God, it's not
Yeah,
the
we've got to
lack, it's
fly
not
back.
the lack of trying.
We've got to fly back tomorrow to try and make it happen, actually.
We're going to have pretend sex on Saturday. It's going to be really awkward. 50 odd people on set. Yeah, it looks nice on TV. It's really strange in real life. Yeah, it's really odd.
So, not to get into the details. But here I go. when you get your costume in the morning, and the costume that they give you, rather than a hanger with loads of stuff, is just like that. And it's like a drawstring beige bag that you would put marbles in when you were a kid. And I've been calling my mum and being like, Mum, yeah, I've made it. I've got the bag. I've made it.
Well, Rain definitely had some racy moments last season. Should we be expecting more of those? Is that what we're hearing here?
Yeah, you should. I think that, you know, because sexuality is a huge part of everyone's life. It's a big factor in marriage. I think sexuality in this day and age, also because there's such inequity between men and women, it's also very much about power.
Yeah.
You know, you'll see plenty of it, believe me.
That's a promise, right?
Oh, it's a promise. Yeah.
So one of the big questions about the show, when you're telling the story of Mary Queen of Scots, is how bound to history you are. Sorry, Toby, but according to Wikipedia, your character dies.
Yeah.
You heard that?
Also, according to Wikipedia, my character has undescended testicles. So, which anyone who's been watching the show knows that that is a quality that I've been playing.
We don't
every morning.
talk about this in front of Toby.
Yeah. Well, you talked about sort of how the time period that we're over episodes, how long we're taking. So there has been some jumps because you were saying earlier that you wanted there to be a baby involved and for me to be on the throne. But now I think in order for me to stay alive, the jumps have to get smaller. I thought we could do it like 24.
I see.
And instead of like the beep 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 beep, we just have like a sundial.
Hourglass.
And then I can live forever.
Like, every season could just be, you know, a week at the castle. That seems fair, right?
Yeah.
Template, 3 months later.
But are you feeling bound by history, or do you think that Rain is a show that could kind of chart its own course?
You know, I feel we take advantage of history is, I think, the best way to put it. And when you look at the show in the first season, you'll see that we hit most of the major signposts. And, you know, that happened at court. You know, if they were big and they were dramatic, we used them. And, but we moved forward at different speeds. And so, you know, we'll see how it feels to tell stories of, you know, Francis and Mary ruling together. And but I'm sort of Team Prairie myself, and so I'm in no rush to say goodbye to Toby or to Francis.
You know, I think the love triangle was kind of such a great part of the first season. People were definitely a little surprised that you went for a bash kind of marriage so quickly.
Right.
They're kind of great together too.
They are.
Why did you decide to do that? Because it feels like it's harder to root for, what's it called, MASH?
I see you.
When both people are married.
Right now.
You know, I feel like healthy people move on, and you know, Mary and Francis were wed, and it seemed like a great kind of left turn for the show to take. It felt really motivated that, you know, King Henry would do it almost as a cruel joke. I will say, you know, in writing the show early in the season, there was a really small scene, a moment between Ken and Bash where they were kind of sitting on a sofa, and she was actually
That was really young.
asking him about his father, and you know, his response was, you know, it's hard to imagine a more awkward conversation. And I love their chemistry, and I just kind of put it in my pocket for later.
Oh, that's so interesting. So it was kind of you were writing towards their chemistry.
Yeah, the chemistry was there, you know, for the taking, and I thought, and they're both such good actors that I felt like even if they didn't have chemistry together, there would be something great in that too. So I love to, you know, paint ourselves into a corner and then see what comes out of it.
I'm really glad that we didn't continue with that love triangle business you know, into perpetuity, because I feel like so many shows do that. They have like this endless love triangle where the lead female gets with one guy and then she's with the other guy and then she's with the other guy again, and it's tired and it's exhausting, and I'm sick of seeing it. And like once you can only do that for so long before it gets just bloody boring.
Well, it's not our show. It's also not our show to kind of lean on things like that, and I
We don't rely on love triangles as a main plot device. We have storylines.
But I think it felt earned when it was happening. I felt like, you know, he was always kind of looking at what his brother had. He was, you know, enchanted by you, and there was a political motivation for you to come together. And once that was passed, it felt like they would separate and move on, and they did.
Yeah. So does that mean that the Bash-Mary relationship will now be like completely platonic? Will they totally kick off?
I feel like
He'll always have a special place in her heart. They'll always have a special relationship, I think. I just don't think they'll bang.
I think Toby has something to say about that.
I do say to Bash at some point something about trust in the next season. That there's a regaining of trust. At that moment, actually, in the end, when we hug, I think that we're back to being things are easily forgotten when you're moving forward.
No, I thought that kind of embrace when Francis goes and embraces, you know.
Yeah, in the first episode of the next one, we hug each other like 3 times.
Yeah.
They were like, that's a good moment, let's put it in more.
So the dynamic between the brothers in the new season, will it be much more friendly, or will they still have a tension now that Francis is king?
He wants Bash on his side, because despite what happened, I think there's a family counts for a lot in this world.
Yeah.
Sort of, I mean, it's here and there, but it's one of the things that you can sort of rely on, because everyone is trying to stab everyone else in the back. So
it's also better
having
to
someone
have,
around that has the same blood as you, and
it's also better to know where they're at, the people that can potentially cause a threat to you. To have them on your team, I think that even if that's not a conscious thought, he's much better to have him, to know where he is, because he's already learned how dangerous his brother can be to him. That's just your mother speaking to you now.
You know, there are different kinds of love stories on the show, and you know, there are obviously romantic love stories, but there are stories about the love between brothers. There are stories about the love between friends, and when you look at, you know, particularly Mary and her ladies, they're all but orphans. None of them have really been raised by their parents. They found family in each other, and they value that, and so we wouldn't have them betray each other without motivation.
Except for all the things about husband. Yeah.
Sorry.
Idiot.
You were on a break.
Idiot.
I mean, that's one of the things that's so interesting about Lola having a baby is that it feels like you're setting up history, maybe repeating itself, right? With the Catherine Diane.
It's a bit of the son repeating the sins of the father, a wee bit.
Yeah, I am my father's son.
Stop.
Are you planning on having it kind of track that, or will you take it in a different direction?
We are tracking that. I think, you know, Mary and Francis are going to do everything they can to live a life that's very different from their parents, but, you know, the constraints around them are very similar to...
There's only so much you can do.
It's easier said than done, I think.
Yes.
And what role will Catherine play now that she's no longer queen, she's the mother of the queen? How will she fit into the puzzle? Do you know?
You know,
Tell me, please.
I feel like Catherine is at her best when she is scrappy and dangerous. And, you know, I think that she is, by definition, a little bit marginalized because she's no longer, you know, the queen. She's the queen mother. And that makes for some, I think, crunchy and dangerous encounters.
Nice. I like it.
The show's kind of always had certain supernatural elements to it. Do you expect to continue that in season 2, or will you pull back?
You know, we talk about it in the writers' room. We talk about season 2 is really, I mean, sort of what the plague leaves us with is, you know, it's a kind of a political upheaval, but it's also what we're calling is kind of the haunted season. And it's primarily people are haunted by the things that they've done. They're haunted by surviving, you know, and we'll see different iterations of those hauntings that are going to be very scary and very personal to them.
Interesting. So when we talked at New York Comic Con, I know that it sounded like filming was just such a blast. The cast was really tight knit. Toby, are you still cooking for everybody?
What's that?
Are you still cooking for people?
Yeah. But
Yeah, about that.
I became a vegetarian, so it's really taken the edge off. Oh, thanks. It's really taken the edge off sort of fine dining. I can't bring people around and sort of like cook them leeks.
Yes, you can.
Okay, everyone come round for leeks.
Okay. Adelaide, it's your turn to start cooking now.
Yeah, I bake. I can only really do sweet things and bread. I can't cook people food. I can only cook things that involve large amounts of sugar, caramel, and chocolate.
I made Anna a Popwell cake for her birthday, and it's got pop rocks in the bottom. And yeah, and this was at the beginning of when Toronto's weather was going crazy, and I travelled like 45 minutes across the worst blizzard with like snow going horizontally this way in a pair of boots or just falling over to go and get one packet of pop rocks to make a cake, which is quite satisfying.
And I know per season 2 will be filming on location in Ireland. Are you excited to get back?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so gorgeous.
Beautiful. Yeah. I'm hoping I'll get some time off this time so I can
My falconry with the falcon school.
yeah, and go riding and go traipsing through the forest, and there are these gorgeous little islands out in the lake that I'm convinced have fairies on them. So I'd like to go and see the islands.
So we'll be taking fan questions if you want to start lining up. As I said, I asked some fans on Twitter if they had questions, and they had lots. One that came up quite a bit was asking if we're going to get flashbacks of Francis and Mary's honeymoon. People are apparently very interested in that.
Do you guys just want to see me in a corset? Is that what we're driving at? That's all you want?
You want to see the honeymoon? Is that what they want to see?
That's what they want to see.
Well, we went to Marbella.
Marbella. Just casually. You can't.
I don't want to see the honey.
None of you. No.
Do we have questions? Are we ready to go?
Yeah, do you guys have questions?
Oh, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
And the light comes on.
Hi, I'm Megan, and I wanted to know if you could go to Comic-Con for fun, is there any panels you'd be really excited to see?
Game of Thrones. My friend Shane is on. Yeah. Woo! Yes. My friend Shane is on Salem, so I would have loved to have gone and seen his panel.
Adventure Time.
Adventure Time.
And Box Burgers.
Adventure Time.
Anything to do with
I'd love to see both those shows. Love those shows.
Yeah. Hello. I like your costume.
Thank you.
Who are you cosplaying as?
I'm doing crossbones actually.
Nice.
Right. So my question is for the producer. I want to know if Queen Catherine is going to have future lovers.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's for you. That's in your ballpark. Right?
Yeah, are you going to have future lovers? Yes, you're going to have future lovers. Absolutely.
Gotta get to the gym.
Hello.
Hi. My question is for Adelaide. What's it like wearing all the fancy costumes and dresses?
Equal parts awesome and incredibly uncomfortable. It's great. I mean, it's really, really beautiful. So fittings are fun. But then you realise on the day that you got them to tie the corset a little bit too tight and fit the clothes a little too closely, and wearing that all day means you end up oxygen deprived and very sleepy. But it's great. It's great. I will probably be crippled by the end of the season by the heels, but it doesn't matter because they're cute. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm Tyler.
Nice to meet you.
First of all, first of all, Teen Wolf really misses you, Adelaide Kane. So my question for you, Adelaide Kane, is what was your favorite Wolfie moment back when you were playing as Cora Hale on Teen Wolf, and explain why?
My favorite Wolfie moment. Well, I really like running through the woods with Cinqua first couple of episodes, I was just wolfed out the whole time. And that's 3.5 hours in prosthetics. Thank you very much. And those contacts are massive and take like 8 tries to get in, and your eyeballs just feel like they've been scraped with sandpaper by the end of it. But that was just really fun. That was a really fun night. I mean, admittedly, running through the woods in the dark and splashing through streams and stepping on rocks in very dim lighting with like plastic on your face might not sound like a good time, but it is. And I missed them. I was actually texting Hecklebear earlier. So I'm like, where are you? Where are you? And he's so terrible at responding to text messages. So I tweeted him instead, and now I'm publicly shaming him. So, Hecklebear, figure your shit out. Come on.
Hello. Hi. My name is Lisa, and I just want to say thank you to Toby for being so gracious for taking a picture with me at the hotel a couple months ago.
That was a pleasure.
I think I screamed out of nowhere. I couldn't even remember your name at the moment. But anyways, for each cast member, I just wanted to ask you, what has been your favorite scene to play and why?
Oh, that's good.
I think Megan has an answer.
I kind of liked our fight last season when we were standing. The one where it was like, I did what you couldn't do in front of the fireplace, and you grabbed me and you were like, rah! I was like, ah!
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
It went just like that.
I like when we yell at each other. I like when there's tension. We've got a great scene coming up in this episode that I am very much looking forward to, where Lola comes up. That'll be fun.
I like my scenes, I love a lot of my scenes, but I do love my dynamic with Nostradamus. We've had a couple great kind of, they're not really two-way conversations ultimately, because I have a lot of power over him. But I love the dynamic we have. But I do have to say that when my husband took somebody's head off and the blood splattered all over my face, but I still kept talking to him, trying to like connect in terms of dealing with our bad marriage. I thought, that's Catherine. That was pretty good. That was great.
I really enjoyed the last part of the season shooting with Alan on his deathbed, but when you, because the show is so sort of frenetic and it moves so quickly, when you get a moment to sort of be really still and zone in on something, I really enjoyed that. And that moment with Torrance at the end with the hug and all that. We shot that all together. It was really rewarding.
Hello, I like your background. Thank you. I'm a huge fan of Queen Catherine. She's wonderful, and I love her in the history as well. So if y'all could talk a bit about how you developed that character, especially as it's an adult woman in a show about teenagers and young people, and how exciting it is to have an adult woman.
Thank you. I love her. I mean, first of all, I always felt very strongly that she's a fiercely loyal person and incredibly loyal to her son. So she's not black and white with her, let's say, her darkness, or if she's has evil intentions. I think she feels completely righteous in her choices, and that's what makes her dangerous, because I find that fascinating. Righteousness is a very precarious place in a dangerous world, and a lot of it is then survival driven. And so what I love is that it's sort of this beautiful world, and she's had to eat a lot of humble pie to get to her position. She really, and historically, I'm sure as you know, it was not a pretty ride for her. And she had no power, she had no title, she had money. She was sort of a precursor to the nouveau riche and what that power meant. But her family, she had no title. So really, she had to play and swallow her power for a long time. So it comes out in very dangerous ways, I think, because of that. That to me is an interesting character. Mary has a title. She has something I never had by birth. And I think that that's very threatening to me. So I love playing her. Thank you.
One more question. Hello, my question is for the cast. If you could play another character from the show, who would you choose and why?
There are times where I sort of wish that I could be Sebastian or Bash, just to play the sort of the maverick thing, get out, and
Hunting in the woods, just ramble around in the woods all the time, ride horses.
Who's that? The Rambler?
Sebastian.
Oh yeah. I thought you were the Rambler.
I kind of would have been the king. you know, had all of those beautiful young men in my chambers, thrown them out of windows when I felt like it. No.